Oh, hey, what's up? What's going on? I hope you're doing well. My name is Pat. I make stuff and I talk about making stuff. And today I wanted to tell you about how my big vendor market went. Uh, did it go amazing? Did it go terrible? Spoiler alert, it went terrible. It was the worst event that I've ever done, technically, at least monetarily. But it also contained the coolest moment of my whole art career thus far. Let me tell you about it. So, was going into this. It's called the Trenton Punk Rock Flea Market. It's a big event that they do. They do it a few times a year now. There's one that they do in the Edison Expo Center that's like huge. They're trying to turn into like a big convention. But the one that I did was the Spring Fling, which was in the Cure Insurance Arena in Trenton. And so it was really cool getting to go to a big arena and setting up a booth on the arena floor. That was really cool. They also had tables all around the concourse and things like that. There was a lot of booths there. I went on Sunday. It was a whole weekend event, Saturday and Sunday. However, I took a little too long to get my table, and so by the time I was able to afford the booth fee, they only had Sunday left. All of the Saturday spots were taken. And that was kind of my first big point of contention, a little bit of trepidation that I had was it was expensive. It was the most expensive thing I ever did. A lot of these art markets, pretty much all of them will charge a booth fee of some kind. And this one, they charged $150 per day. So it was $300 for the weekend. And I really wanted to do that, but it's hard with these vendor events because a lot of times you need to pay for the booth fee when you make the booking, and that could be months ahead of time. In this case, I made it in November, and it was for April. So dropping $300 in November for maybe making some money 4 or 5 months from then, it's something that I had trouble justifying. So I waited. By the time I was able to afford it in like the end of December, all of the Saturday booths were gone. And so I only got the Sunday one. So I spent $150 for the booth fee. And typically when I do these vendor events, I always at least make my money back. For the most part, I usually end up profiting, I would say like between, I would say $50 and $150. And usually I think that's pretty cool. I mean, even just making my booth fee back, it's like, hey, I didn't lose any money, but I got my art in the hands of a lot of people, and that's really cool to me. I find a lot of joy in that, and I think that for me, that's why I think the in-person events are worth doing for that reason. So I set up. Everyone that showed up was really cool. I think that there wasn't quite as many people as perhaps it was promised. It was a Sunday. I get it. Sundays are typically like not as many people show up as they would on a Saturday. I totally understand. And there were a decent amount of people. I would say between like 2,000 and 3,000 people showed up in and out all day. The thing went from I think 10 to 5, so it was a pretty long event. But I think the biggest thing was that for the amount of people that came, there were a ton of vendors. A ton of vendors. Probably they advertised hundreds of vendors. I would say there was probably at least 200 different people with their stuff set up there. There was a lot. And as a shopper, that's a good thing, right? You got a lot of options. You got a ton of people showing off their stuff. So many cool booths that were there. And I think that ends up being a bit of a detriment to the people that are selling, right? There's so much cool stuff there. It's really cool to see as someone who does this and makes art. You love to see people putting their stuff out there, but at the same time, we're all competing for the attention and the sales of this one pool of people. So I think that ended up causing a lot of people to spread the sales out, and not a lot of people made a whole lot of sales. At least from what I was able to talk to, the people that I were talking to that were also vending, most of them didn't break even like I did. I didn't end up breaking even. it happens. It happens. This is honestly the first time it happened to me. I usually at least make my money back, but I do think that was a big cause of it, is that there were not a ton of people, but the people that were there, their sales were being spread out across too many vendors. There was a lot of competition. I also think it was a bit of a gamble for me personally to do the punk rock flea market. If you can't tell by the name of it, the sort of vibe of it is very punk aesthetics, very, skulls everywhere, a lot of black. And my stuff is very colorful, very doodly, very illustration, very kind of the opposite of that. And I thought that that could be to my benefit, right? I thought that that would help me stand out from the crowd. And it ended up being like sort of that meme of the Barbie house next to the dark black goth house. I thought that would be my way in. And I do think that helped me make a decent amount of sales. I was set up next to someone that sold like black leather straps and things like that, and patches and stuff. And I think we sort of contrasted each other in a very nice way. He was a really cool person too. And I thought that could be to my benefit, but I do think it ended up, I don't know, it wasn't totally my crowd. Some of it, there were a lot of people that came up and were complimentary. A lot of people that came up and said, oh, this is really cute. These are really cool. I like these. I did the poster designs for the first time. I was really stoked on them. I did sell a couple, which is nice. Leads me to think that perhaps there were some, I could be selling them in the future. I hope to. I plan on having them being like one of the main things that I sell. But I do think overall it wasn't quite my crowd. However, I do think that it only takes, one or two moments to make it all worth it. And man, I had like the coolest thing happen to me. So, bit of a story, I guess. Over 2 years ago, when I first started getting back into art and I was first starting to think of, oh, maybe I can make something out of this, I made some stickers and some tote bags on a site called threadless.com. I had made these characters and I really liked them and I wanted to make stickers out of them. So I got a sticker made through this website, and then I ended up making a couple of tote bags as well with this character named Phoebo. I've mentioned him in a couple other videos, but he was the first character that I drew on my iPad that I was like, oh, I like him. And I was at a local coffee shop and I was working on a new illustration while the Phoebo tote bag was hanging off of my chair. And this guy came up to me and he said, hey, I really like your tote bag. Where did you get it? And I was like, oh, I made it. And I told him about how I was making these character illustrations and getting them done on Threadless. And I told him about Phoebo. And he was like, I think my partner would really like that. Is there a way I can get it? And I told him about my website. And later that day, he got tote bags, he got a t-shirt, and it was just really cool. It was one of the first times, maybe the first time, that a complete stranger just liked the art that I made and wanted to buy it. And it was a really amazing feeling, especially because it wasn't like I was at a vendor market. It wasn't like I was at an art gallery. I was just working on stuff at a coffee shop, and someone approached me and said, hey, I really like your stuff. Can I get it? And that was awesome. And I was a few hours into the Trenton Punk Rock Flea Market. I hadn't made any sale yet. I was starting to get a little bit, I was starting to get a little antsy. We were approaching the halfway mark and I hadn't sold a single thing yet. And who shows up but that guy with his partner? And they came up to me and they said, hey, what's going on? Where's Phoebo? And I was like, oh my goodness, it's them. And I told my girlfriend about it and she was like, oh, I remember you telling me this story. Over 2 years ago, this guy saw me and there he was, and he remembered me, and he even remembered the name of the character of the sticker he got. It was so cool. He ended up buying another sticker, and yeah, I mean, it was just one sticker sale, right? Like, it was only a couple of bucks, but that was just like, I don't know, it was just such a small world. It was just one of the coolest feelings. And so I didn't make my money back, like I said. The booth fee was, I think, $150. I think at the end of the day, I only ended up making, I'd want to say $85. So I definitely took a bit of a loss doing the Trenton Punk Rock Flea Market as far as money goes, but having that moment of being able to see that guy and he remembered me and remembered the name of my character that I drew, and yeah, he only got one sticker, but that was worth it. To me, that was worth all of the extra, that was worth more than the money I lost doing that event. That was so cool. And I was just, man, I don't know. I feel like as an artist, you live for moments like that of that just, oh man, I connecting with people through the stuff that I make is just nothing like it, man. There's nothing like it. So yeah, the event was, so as far as money goes, but I wouldn't take that moment back for the world. I'm so happy I got to have that experience, and I'm so happy I got to do that event just to have that moment. And maybe I won't. I'm not sure if I'm going to do another one of those punk rock flea markets again. Probably not, just because of I don't think my stuff is the demographic of the punk rock flea market vibe. And I'm okay with that. I understand everyone's got their lane, and that just isn't my lane. So I'm hopefully going to find some more events that are in my lane. But that was a bit of a recap of that vendor market, and of just getting to tell you that experience was just, oh man, it was so nice. Have you ever had a moment like that where you made something and it was recognized by someone? Like, I don't know, like, let me know, because it's so cool, right? It's so cool. So thank you all so much for watching these videos. It just means the world to me. I have those new posters up on my website, prettyokpat.com. Check it out. Buy one of them if you'd like. If you think they're cool, I think they're cool. And in the meantime, until the next video, get out there and go make something. All right? All right. Have a good one.